Wczoraj o tej porze wieczorem w nocy wracaliśmy z Asią z morza, z akcji ratunkowo-pomocowej przeprowadzonej dla Grega. For Greg. Greg jest anglojęzyczny, jest Portugalczykiem. To nagranie będziemy prowadzić w języku angielskim. Wyszliśmy z pomocą, ponieważ dowiedzieliśmy się w środku dnia, że Greg takiej pomocy potrzebuje. Że nie ma zagrożenia życia, że nie jest to sytuacja podbramkowa, ale że jest w naszej okolicy Portugalczyk, jest żeglarz, który od 3 dni dryfuje bez silnika, bez prądu, bez oświetlenia i próbuje dotrzeć do francuskiego brzegu. W zasadzie do jakiegokolwiek brzegu próbuje dotrzeć. Wiedząc, jak wygląda sytuacja na morzu, wiedząc, że mamy okno pogodowe, wiedząc, że nie ma specjalnie komu pomóc mu w tej sytuacji, zdecydowaliśmy się wyjść w morze. Dzisiaj nie tyle my chcemy opowiadać historię, co pozwolić Gregowi opowiedzieć swoją historię. Chcielibyśmy, żeby od momentu startu opowiedział o tym, jak było, co go spotkało, co się stało, jak przetrwał, co nim kierowało i jak widzi swoje doznania, swoje przeżycia. Dzisiaj głos oddamy Gregowi, który jest zajęty pisaniem SMS-a, ale zaraz do nas wróci.
Okay, we can start. Can you tell us everything what's happened? When you started, why you started, what was when you wanted to go and everything,
what's happened, what do you feel, and just start then.
Explain us the story.
Then where is your story started?
Well, it's a complex story. So I have a young daughter. She tried to commit suicide and she survived. She's not well. So for the last year, since that happened, a lot of things have been gone through my mind. It was not an easy moment as a father. You ask yourself a lot of questions, and I got into a very big depression. Because it's not like there's an end. There is no end to it. It just goes on. So I got to a stage in which I stopped living and I retreated into myself. So I thought I needed to go sailing, and I love sailing. And I grew up sailing and in and around boats, fishermen, and etc. So, and I do have a boat and I sail quite a lot. I did some racing as well. So I decided I had enough, because life needs to go on. And I just packed my boat. There's food, there's water, the boat floats. It doesn't need an engine. And I just went. I got to that stage that if I continue, I'm going to hurt myself. Not in the sense that I would kill myself or something, or think stupid thoughts. No, that's not it. But you stop functioning as a human. I stopped wanting to see people, wanting to talk to people. You know, I didn't want to see my friends. I didn't want to see my family. I just wanted to be left alone. That's no good place to be. So I decided that the sea is the best treatment. So one day I just jumped in my boat and here I am.
This boat you get in journey, is it your boat in long time, or just something new?
No, this boat, I've had this boat now for 3-4 years. I knew the previous owner, and the boat was well maintained. We didn't know that the engine was a problem until the engine died. I spent quite a lot of money on the engine, bought a new gearbox. So I spent 2,000 or more pounds on the engine, and then the engine just died.
Oh my God.
New gearbox, everything. The boat is well set up as well. It's a very good boat. It's a heavy displacement boat. Colvik are well known and have a very good reputation for being very sturdy boats. This one is very sturdy. I've used the boat before, and I do have some experience sailing, and so I knew I was going to be fine. And sometimes the best is when you look for way outs yourself, you know. And this is not something that it's easy to discuss with other people. Neither I don't want the pity of anyone. I don't need it neither. You know, there's nothing I can do with it. You know, it's just I need to get my head out of my rear end and
Yeah.
start working again as a human, you know, having contact with people, like with you, talking with people, regain that joy in life again. Because life does go on. The death of a swallow is not the end of the spring.
Yeah.
So then I just one day packed the boat and left.
Okay.
That's where I am.
You are going to...
I am going to Portugal, first of all, and after that I will deal with some of the things that I have to deal with in Portugal. I'll probably be there for a couple of months, and I haven't decided yet. I'll probably be keeping this boat, but I have in my plans to get a different boat. I will either build one or get something a little bit more saily, a little bit faster, because I do like the speed as well.
With or without motor?
I don't mind.
You don't need motor, we know.
I got deer, didn't I? I mean, I sailed without an engine. I mean, it's a sailboat. It has sails. That is the engine of the boat. We've sailed for thousands of years, and there were no engines.
Yeah.
You had to learn how to throw your anchor, you know, on a point of sail. You had to do all of that, and I've learned all of that as a kid. So why not do it?
Question: how many meals you get before your problem with your engine?
Oh, in total, how many?
Yeah.
In my life.
You started this last one trip.
Oh, I didn't have an engine when I started.
Oh, you started
You
with...
started with your engine.
Yeah.
Oh, just sail.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
didn't know.
It was we
You don't
didn't
need
know.
It's a sailboat, so it's, just put up the sails and go.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I think you had a problem on the trip with.
Oh, no. The
No,
engine has
no.
been dead now for... I was going to do something about the engine, but then this thing with my daughter happened. And I was not in a good place, so I never dealt with it. But it has an engine. The sails are the engine of this boat. So
Okay.
it was just a question of adjusting myself to sailing a boat that is not been designed purely as a sailboat, because the Colvik Watsons are a motor sailor.
Okay.
They are designed as a motor sailor.
Okay.
They're supposed to work with motor and sails. So I just had to relearn or learn how to sail that boat, how it likes to be sailed. So we fought a little bit. But she's not a racehorse. She's a bit like a mule. She takes you home safe.
Okay.
But she can be stubborn, so you have to have a bit of an experience trying to learn.
Okay. So the next question. Tell us when this your problem started, because we got some message that there is some Portuguese guy on the sea and he needs help. And when this time
From the beginning, because so I've got an iridium like you do have, right? So people are following your track,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not the first boat that gets the Coast Guard called on them, because when people are following the track, they don't know what's going on.
And they
Just assume something. So they saw me, what they saw was me drifting. They didn't realize I was sailing. And it got to a stage in which the more I told them, look, I'm fine, the less they believed it.
okay.
But it started... is that mine one?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's yours.
See? Look, it's perfect.
Yeah, actually, it looks like sailing
Yes, it's sailing, it's tacking.
because it's like
It's not
here. The problem started somewhere
Yeah.
here when
because
the
it's
tides were stronger. I
Exactly.
guess.
The wind changed in this area. I had a good wind coming to over here, but then the wind changed. It became on the nose. So I can't aim at the wind. So I have to sail in a sail position that allows me to go in the direction that I want. And in this case, because the wind was coming exactly, you know, from where I wanted to go, I actually had to sail around there and try to find a position. Now, the other problem is when you approach Cherbourg, you have lots of very, very strong currents.
Extreme strong.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, as you can see here, I'm actually following the currents and trying to understand how I can use them to my advantage. So the first bit here is me trying to understand that. Then I do the first approach, and then from here, I think this is the final approach. From here, this is me already using the. So in this one, I didn't come as far as I should have come. You see, so I failed. While I'm here, I realize, okay, I'm too far. If I try to turn, the tide is going to take me in the wrong way. But I'm floating, I have no problem. So what do? I go up, I come down again. There was a bit of a squall during the night here, so I left the boat to sail alone, without autopilot. I just set the sails. Look at this, perfect track. The boat sailed itself.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's without an autopilot.
Okay.
Full night me sleeping, and then here I take control of the boat, and I start my approach using the current. So I'm sailing, pointing this way, and the tides are starting to turn me where I want to go.
Yeah.
And I get to in front of exactly where I wanted to go, against the wind, using the tides, you know. And then this is us already drifting back.
Yeah. We meet here. Yeah.
So, but people, when they look at this track, what do they see?
Like when I see this, for me, most of that looks like a sailing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's sailing.
Like I guess that most of that is the tides, right?
No, so basically this is the waves, this is the wave situation
Okay.
that I had to adjust my point of sail because I do not want to beat into the waves.
Yeah.
So I have to sail at an angle to the
Okay,
waves.
understand.
Then I have the lanes as well. This is me crossing the lanes here. You see, because I cross straight over the lane.
Okay.
I approach it at an angle.
Yeah.
I look for the right space to cross in between the big boats because the channel is the heaviest sailed place in the world. There's ships everywhere, and you approach at a 90-degree angle like I did in there. So that's a perfect maneuver in there.
Okay.
See, I go across the lane. I'm on the other side. I'm clear. And
Okay, so this road is here, right?
yeah, exactly. So look,
Okay.
see, this is just across the lane.
And
I
this is
pass
perfect.
in between. I think there were like I think I have the photograph somewhere on my phone. It's I don't know how many ships that I have to cross across, you know. But people don't see that, you know.
Yeah, when we talked before, like when people are not in your boat with you, they don't know what it's happened.
Exactly.
And they care when they cares about you. They are scared. They are afraid, and they don't know what has happened.
All of
Okay.
those are very big ships. And there's me with a little boat in the middle of the night, going around them.
Huh?
Yeah.
But when you look at the track,
Yeah.
you don't see that. You see?
Yes. Yeah, I will show them.
So all the triangles are very, very big ships.
Okay.
So you see.
So you said you don't drift, just you walk very, very extreme slowly. But
It's a slow boat.
it's a slow boat.
It's not a race boat.
Okay.
Yeah, because your boat is very heavy, right?
Exactly. You were towing. So the boat weighs about 4 tons, and now it's full of water. It's full of food. It's full of my stuff as well. So it's probably around 5 tons.
Yeah.
And she's not a race boat. She's a motor sailor. So she has a hull speed of about 6 knots. So with all this much weight, I'm lucky if I get an average of about 2 or 3 knots. That's an average. So I've managed to hit once 7 knots
Okay.
sailing. But most of it was around the 5 knots. The rest was probably around 3 point something, 4 knots, which is very good. It's very respectable for that boat.
Okay.
But I'm not a fast boat. This is not a trip that you do like in 12 hours with this boat. It's impossible. The boat simply will not do that. Even on the engine, you'd get a slightly better average, but not very much more, you know. The engine in this case just helps you maneuver in and out of ports and deal with the tide. But if you look at it, it's like this is a perfect. Oh, sorry. This is a perfect race line, actually. You see, long tacks, avoiding winds, waves, ships, etc. This is where I crossed the second line, or the second. Do you see?
Yeah.
At the 90-degree angle again.
Yeah. Understand? Yeah, this is the road.
Exactly, because there's two lanes. There's the first lane that follows the coast of England, and then there's the other lane where the boats go into the North Sea.
Okay.
So they come later down. So you see two passages at a 90-degree angle. None of the other has that.
Yeah.
So you had control all the time.
Everything was under control.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You see?
Okay, but do you had in your head the moment when you were thinking, okay, maybe I need some help, some support. Maybe not help, support.
I never had that
Okay.
because I was having too much fun sailing. I
Okay.
literally was having too much fun.
You were
Okay.
there, you should be.
Exactly. I was laughing at all. I was making videos to Slavos. Look, Slavos, that's me having fun. And I was actually literally having fun. Then I started to realize that my family and friends were actually worried. Because they can't see. They follow the track and see, oh, what is he doing? Why is he doing this here? This is not attack.
Yeah.
And they forget that when you look on AIS, you see a line of ships going like this. One, there's a space between them, and there's another line of ships going the other way. And I have to cross these lines.
Yeah, it's normal. It's very normal.
And they're doing some 20-something.
Did you try to explain your situation? It's everything okay and just
Yeah.
please quiet?
Have you ever tried to explain to a psychiatrist that you're not crazy? It doesn't work. The more you say you're not crazy, the more they think you're crazy. So the more I told them that I'm fine, the less they believed it.
Okay.
And then they started texting me.
Okay.
I'm sailing a very complex boat to sail because I'm trying to sail this boat fast. The boat is slow. And here I am trying to sail it fast. I got 3-meter waves. I got strong winds, gusting on the 30s. And people are texting me. And if I don't answer, they get worried. So I'm trying to text and I lose the wind.
Yeah.
So now I understand it was something like mass.
Hysteria?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I was talking to someone today with a 56-footer, right? He's docked beside me over there. Here's what happened to him. He went across the Bay of Biscay with a 56 Discovery yacht, right? And he touched something with his wind vane that was floating on the water, and he broke the wind vane.
Okay.
So he needed to repair it underway. So he did a loop. And his wife saw the track and called the Coast Guard.
Really?
Yes. What is he doing? What is he doing? He's not going straight. Oh my God, something happened.
Okay.
Do you see where this is going?
Yeah.
It is history.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just because they're not there and people imagine always the worst.
Yeah. Especially when they are not in this situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
I was looking
I
at
could-
dolphins.
Yeah.
2 tunas jumped in front of my boat. I was having fun with everything and people kept texting me and me going like, mate, I'm sailing.
understand.
Okay, but you had a problem with electricity. It was a problem.
No. So basically what happened was this. All boats have a bilge pump, right? And I had a little bit of water in the bilge. That has been there for I don't know how long. But because the boat is moving, this little bit of water is moving. It's probably less than half a cup
Yeah.
in there. But that's enough when you're chuckling for the bilge pump to fill this water. And as soon as it fills it, it tries to take it off. But it's not enough to create pressure. So it pulls it, it goes up, it comes down, and the pump restarts. So the pump has been working for 3 days like that.
Oh no.
And it burned through my power bank because I
Okay.
didn't realize that the pump was doing that. So
Okay.
even with a solar charger, that was not enough. You know,
Okay.
if the bilge pump was working the whole time. By the time I realized that was a problem, and I removed the fuse, from the thing because I got tired of. Well, there was nothing else I could do at that stage, you know. Hey, don't tell me I lost the fuse. That's bad because I need
you
that
lost?
fuse. Oh no, it's here. So this is the fuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, but by the time I noticed that, it was too late.
Yeah.
However, on my boat, I have two lights that I used, and I was going to use again, which is those silicone emergency lights, the red and the green, that I can use on my boat. I've got batteries for them as well.
Yeah, we saw it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I have everything else. I even have an immersion suit, a Solus registered immersion suit, you know. So, I mean, I've got radios everywhere.
Yeah. Even here.
Yeah. So I've always carried it with me. So if I fall into the water, I can direct an helicopter to my position without having to shout.
Okay.
You see, it's always on my life jacket. There is another one by the door. There is an extra battery also charged for the radios, and I have the VHF for the boat also in place.
Okay, so you were really good prepared for this trip. Like,
Yes.
Because you had everything what you needed for this trip.
Yeah.
You didn't need engine, so you didn't have it.
Exactly.
Okay.
I haven't had an
that's
engine
fair
working
enough.
for, I don't know, probably 3 years now.
Okay.
And I sail.
Okay. Okay, but there was a moment when we decided to join you.
Yes.
And what did you think that time? Like
I
you were,
th- I
oh
th-
no, I don't want them here.
No. I did want that because you have to understand that it's not just about safety; it's about everyone's safety, and that also means the safety of my friends, the safety of my family, and basically not being a nuisance on the sea as well. So at that time, I realized that accepting help would be the best, not for me, but for my friends and family.
Okay.
Because it puts them at rest. Because they don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
They don't understand. Why is it taking so long? Because I don't have an engine.
They are sailors or just
Some of them are sailors,
Normal
but what
people.
is a sailor? Because if you have a sailboat and you never sailed, but you're sitting on a boat, you are also a sailor. That does not mean that you have the experience to judge everything. I mean, you are sailors, but can you judge the experience of a racer?
No, we don't
Because
know.
it's exactly.
We don't know it.
Pretty much. So the problem with people watching a track like this is that they don't understand what's going on in the moment. They don't understand the sea, and they don't have a chart. Sorry about the
I will
microphone.
You can keep it.
They don't have a chart that allows them to, or they didn't pull up a map. This is a GPS track. It doesn't show the tide. It doesn't show the winds.
No,
it doesn't
no,
show the waves. It shows nothing.
That's the line.
Exactly. So if you have to analyze this,
You cannot.
you cannot.
You can just see, and you can see the,
Why is he doing it
let's
like
say,
that?
something like coordinates. You
Exactly.
can put, but you don't know what is happening there.
No, but it's like we had a southwest wind
Yeah.
most of these days. I have to sail against the southwest wind, so
Yeah.
it's going straight at my nose. So I have to come like this.
But many sailors should be.
Exactly. But look at the interesting part, okay? So I have the wind on the nose, okay? And this is what they didn't see. And some of them should have seen it. And here I am, sailing against the wind. Without an engine. That's quite a few miles.
Yeah.
And that's sailing as close to the wind as I can get, because I need to pass through a group of very big ships, as you saw on the AIS.
Yeah, we saw.
I'm avoiding, I don't know, 5 or 6 ships at the same time. That was the best opening I had all night, And I was coming, look at the track I did. So I did here, and I was going to cross in here, but then I saw all the ships, and I thought, no. So here I am doing, I don't know, maybe 10 nautical miles along the line, just to find an opening that I can cross safely with my boat. Am I concerned what my family is going to think or my friends? No, because my job as a skipper is actually to make sure the vessel is safe. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm concentrating upon. And of course, perhaps I should have answered a few more messages. But at a certain stage, you also just want to, you need to do the thing, you know. I mean, if the wind is gusting 32 knots, you know, if you take your eye off the sails, you lose the wind. That boat is not easy to turn.
Mm-hmm.
So if I lose the wind because I'm texting, which happened quite a few times,
Yeah.
in very strong winds, the boat does not want to turn. I do not have the speed. Then I'm shuckling on the waves as well, you know. But people can't see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see, and it's not just one person texting, you know.
Of course. Yeah.
But we get a message at you called when you come to French coast, you call Papam.
No, I didn't call Pam Pam. I called the Coast Guard, which is called an advisory.
Mm-hmm.
So there is different types of calls to the Coast Guard. One of them is a Pam Pam, which is I've broken down and I require assistance, but there is no danger to life.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is a Mayday,
No.
right? In which there is danger to life, be that you're taking on water, or somebody's hurt, or the boat is on fire, something along those lines. And then there's a courtesy call,
Okay.
which is what I did. The boat is not in any danger, is perfectly under my control, yet, because I have no lights, I have to advise them so they can put out a warning to navigation that there is a boat
Without lights.
without lights.
Mm-hmm.
I can signal other boats because I got everything. I got a very good pair of binoculars on board. I mean, I've got a pair of Steiner binoculars on board, which see pretty well even in the dark. I'm fully equipped. I got powerful flashlights, so I can indicate to other boats. And you saw even my red light.
Yeah,
yesterday.
I
It
saw
was
this.
just-
Yeah.
How many boats have you seen with that? None.
A lot
but-
of red lights.
Yeah, but it was actually really good.
Mm.
See, so I'm really well prepared. But of course, people never see that. They just worry. And at a certain stage, I had to accept that they were just going to be worried and worried. And the more you try to tell them not to be, the more they start to be worried.
Yeah.
First, because they know that because of my daughter, I've not been at my best. And maybe I'm not taking all the precautions. That I think that was pretty much on everyone's mind. And Slavos, my friend, was worried about me, which I appreciate very much. And I did it as also for him as well, because it's like, if everyone is worried, then you have to do something about it. You know, it's not about your ego. It's not about being this or that. But I am really glad I did not call a Pam Pam, because otherwise, by law, then I would have to pay for that bill.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and the calls are recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So if need be, I can ask the Coast Guard for my call transcript, you know, to come back, and it will tell that I did not declare a Pam Pam. I do not require assistance. What I told the Coast Guard is I'm in control of my boat. I am wearing a life jacket. I've got all the safety gear that I need to have on my boat. I got flares at hand. I got radio handhelds. I got all my equipment working, right? Even without power. You see what I mean? The only thing I don't have is power for the lights. But I still had power for my phones, so I had navigation, and I have paper charts. Because I did my navigation through paper charts. I'm old style.
Old star?
Exactly.
Okay.
So there was no reason for all of this.
Okay. You did some plan for next day, because wind, weather
Yes.
come to change, and you had some plan. What's the plan for you?
Okay, so basically when you do something like this, you always have to have alternating harbors. Okay? So my plan when I started was I want to go to Cherbourg. But I don't know what time I'm going to get there.
It was impossible
Exactly.
to get to
Or I don't also know what day I'm going to get there. That's going to affect my plan. because the sea state will change, the wind will change, everything. So before I came, I had a few choices. I could have gone to this side, or I could have gone to this side, because the currents around here, they do
Around this land, yes.
literally. So basically the only thing you need to do is you drop anchor over here, because it's shallow, and then this current in here will push you inland. Literally. Before it takes you away. But because of the positions of the wind, you will be able to sail into this area around here as well. So my plan was, if I can't make Cherbourg, because the wind is going to be on the southwest, and I had a friend send me weather reports the whole time, so I knew the position of the wind. So I was able to calculate that I could come over here, over here, over here, or over there.
To Charlotte.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that would be enough coverage to take me out of the weather, because you see in here you can take shelter from the weather, and in there you can take shelter from the weather as well. Because the next front that comes, you know, it's going to find this area is protected. You see? So all of that was taken into consideration as well, you know, because you need to accept the possibility when you're sailing that you may not be possible to arrive at your destination at the time of your convenience. And because you're a sailor, then you will have to respect the weather, and then you go back when the weather is favorable. You see, there is a saying in English, tide waits for no man. That means that you have to respect the tides. You have to go on the right tide. You can't just go when you want. So of course I'd like to get into Cherbourg, but if I couldn't do it this week, I would do it next week.
Yes.
I'm not in a rush.
You are young, you have time.
Exactly. According to some, I'm only 13.
Oh my god.
Now we know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we know.
We didn't know.
Just panic.
Yeah,
People were
it was
worried
just
about
panic.
me.
There is some Portuguese
Person without engine on the English canal, and he. I'm not sure, but yeah, they said that you don't have energy, so you don't have lights, and
How many flashlights and how many torches have you got in your boat? Top of your head. 3, 4, 5? And torches. You know, headlamps and things like that. How many have you got?
how many we have?
How many?
Ooh, 3 headlights and 1 this what we gave you. This is for battery, and we have 1, but we need accumulator for this battery.
I got 5.
Okay.
All charged. And I got batteries. All charged. So even without lights, I can signal on your boat.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was our first thought, I guess, that you don't have lights. Okay, but you have headlights. You can show them that you are here. That
Exactly.
something.
And I advise the Coast Guard so they can put an advisory out. You know, when I left the UK, there was an advisory from the Coast Guard. They gave the weather, and on the end of the weather report on channel 63, then they put an advisory that there was a boat dragging anchor on a certain area of the Solent, so that the other sailors knew to avoid the area.
Yeah.
There was no one on board, you see. So that's exactly why I call the Coast Guard, so they can put out an advisory that there is a boat, in this case under control, with a master on board, but he has no lights. So we will use hand lights, you know.
Yeah.
But I did everything that the law requires and went above, which is I informed the Coast Guard that I was there, so that they can inform everybody else. You see, so there was no need for a pam-pam. You're definitely not gonna fix my instruments at night, or bring a battery, or repair my lights. You know, you're not gonna do that. So what do? The only thing that I could ask is for a tow back to harbor. You know, so I spoke with them, and they were going to send the harbor master, but he was already at close to 7 o'clock, and they go home.
All right.
I told them I'm poor. I don't have any money. I have not been well.
Okay, and at the last, what do you think now? Now your boat is staying in harbor.
For the weather.
Yeah. What's next?
So next is I'm gonna wait for the weather. See if I can do something about an engine. Don't know how, but I'll figure something out.
It's great. It's
Okay,
great.
but you need this engine?
Not really.
Because before you said that you started without, because actually you don't need. So my question is,
I use a Torqeedo, an electric outboard,
okay,
to get in and out of harbor, and I sail up to the harbor.
okay,
That's all that I need. If I need
Okay.
assistance while I'm sailing in strong winds, and it's difficult to tack the boat because it's a long keel, so you really have to push it forward. I just lower the Torqeedo into the water. It's like a bow thruster,
okay.
and it
Okay,
turns the
so-
boat. You know, so I can
Actually,
maneuver.
you have some kind of
Yeah,
engine.
Pretty
Okay,
much, you know.
Okay.
So,
okay, that's fair enough.
but you have to consider one thing, which is I don't think a lot of people know my real experience with boats and sea. You know, and you've been to Nazaré, so you know where I've learned how to swim
Yeah,
and the type of waters.
understand.
But you try to explain that to people, and they don't realize that. You know, when I talk about waves, I talk about the biggest waves in the world.
Yeah.
But people probably think like a meter wave on the beach is big. You know, they've never seen real waves.
Yes. Maybe we will see.
Maybe. We will see.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
you are waiting for weather, and what next? Just step by step to
Yes,
Portugal?
slowly.
Yes, slowly.
Slowly back to Portugal. It's a very beautiful trip. You meet wonderful people along the way, like I met you guys.
Yeah.
Do you have some time so...
No, I'm not.
We have to-
So I got taught something by my granddad and my family that has a lot of fishing experience as well, and heavy seas, and you have to take it as it comes. So I'm gonna go slowly with the weather, taking into consideration what type of boat I've got, and my own safety and the safety of other vessels as well, and to allow me as well a good visual of the land in ways that you otherwise can't do. So I'm not in a rush to get anywhere. I'd like to get there at some stage, sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But am I going to rush it? No.
Okay.
The only constraints we have right now is the winter storms,
Yeah.
because we're entering the season for the winter storms.
Yeah.
But a month and a half until we get to that stage, is more than enough. And if I follow the coast of Biscay, then it adds a few more days to the trip. But it's a beautiful trip. And you can take shelter in many other places as well, so.
Will you take Biscay across just or around?
Well, let me put it this way. The only reason I'm not halfway across the Atlantic to the Azores is because people would get worried, as you saw.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
otherwise, that's where I would be right now.
You tried.
Well, there's two ways of getting out of Portsmouth. One of them is you could go by Bambish Point on the Isle of Wight, the way I did, which I can aim across the channel, or I could have gone the other way, through the Needles and to Plymouth, and then cut straight through the ocean to the Azores.
But you do you use Inreach Mini too?
Hmm?
Inreach Mini,
Yeah.
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 You can off.
Yeah, that would be bad, because if I switch,
worse.
No Inreach, no problem.
oh,
No
that would be
people
a problem.
around.
They will start Mayday, Mayday, Mayday.
that would be helicopters, navies from different countries, satellites tracking. Where is he?
But if you will stop this in harbor,
Oh.
probably they won't know about this.
Oh, they would have
Because
known. They would have
Okay.
known. I think if I had stopped in Reach, we would be on the news. We would
Okay,
be on the
the
news.
conclusion of this is that you have very good and lovely friends which care about you,
Pretty
and
much.
And you're lucky,
Yeah.
really lucky,
I
because
guess I am.
think it's it's really good to have friends like that.
It's one of the reasons why I'm doing this trip, because I realized that I was getting into a stage in which I was not reacting to the world. I didn't want to see my own friends. I didn't want to see my family.
Come to us. Come.
And, I'm sorry, I'm going away. I didn't mean to apologize.
Yeah.
But I realized I was getting very depressed. And at some stage, you have to do something by yourself. And then the sea is beautiful. I fought with my demons on the trip. I swore at my boat, you know, I swore at the wind, I swore at the ocean, you know. And then we made peace and we kissed and make up, you know, and I sailed further. And now I'm looking at people, I'm talking to people.
Yeah, it's a journey.
Exactly, you know. So it's the sea is wonderful for things like this. You know?
For sure.
It is really wonderful, and it helps you clear your mind and get back to life again.
So it's waiting for us both. Same trip to Portugal.
Probably we'll meet
Pretty
a few
much.
times more.
Yeah.
At least in Portugal.
Oh yes, I will show you quite a few interesting places in there as well.
we have deal.
I will.
Pinky promise, pinky promise.
Okay. Okay.
So, dzięki wielkie. Ta opowieść dobiegła końca. Dowiedzieliśmy się, jak wyglądała ta historia tak naprawdę ze strony żeglarza, za którego w którego imieniu walczyło wielu ludzi, by go ratować, a on nie do końca chciał być ratowany. Może troszeczkę wyszło nadgorliwie, ale też w pewien sposób zostaliśmy wprowadzeni w błąd. Mimo wszystko nie żałuję, że wyszliśmy w morze, nie żałuję doświadczeń, których nazbieraliśmy, bo to zazwyczaj ja byłem po tej drugiej stronie. Tym razem udało mi się być teamem ratującym, a nie być ratowanym. Poza tym spotkaliśmy bardzo ciekawego człowieka, nawiązaliśmy nowe kontakty i dopisujemy to sobie do CV podróży, do ciekawych wspomnień, do czegoś, o czym możemy opowiadać. I wiele nauczyliśmy się tej nocy o prądach i o naszych możliwościach i o tym, że niezwykle ciężko jest, nawet ciężko jest mówić o walce, raczej musimy się poddać tym siłom natury i z nimi współpracować. Nie mamy absolutnie szans walczyć, a tym bardziej wygrać. Dzięki wielkie, trzymajcie się.
Thank you so
Cześć.
much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
as well. I would just like to say something for my friends as well, and
Yes,
for worrying
please.
about me. Slavos, thank you for all the trouble that you went contacting you as well. I have to say thank you for that, and for everybody that worried about me. Ultimately, when you're out at sea, you have to leave people on track of these things, and you have to take them into consideration, not just the sea. Because if I hadn't arrived, they would be the ones to call for rescue.
Yeah.
You see, so the fact that they worry actually makes me not just thankful that I have them as friends, but also that it helps improve my chances of survival at sea if something really happens, you know. That you have somebody that cares enough. You should never go to sea without somebody knowing where you are.
Yeah.
That's the final lesson of this.
Yeah. That's very good. Thank you so much one more time.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you Sławos. Because of you, we know him.
I dzięki wam wszystkim. Trzymajcie się, cześć.
Ciao.
Drogi widzu, podróż to jest niekończąca się sposobność, by poznawać nowych ludzi, nowe historie, nowe wydarzenia. Ja te historie kolekcjonuję, zbieram, opowiadam, ale nie oceniam ludzi, ani nie weryfikuję historii. Ja im tylko pozwalam dalej ze mną płynąć i wybrzmieć. Dzięki. Sam zdecyduj. Dzięki.
Fajne to jest to samo. W sensie, dokończ to zdanie, coś wymyśl jeszcze tego, sam zdecyduj, bo to jest fajne. Albo daj znać w komentarzu, co, nie?
To jest takie płytkie. Daj znać w komentarzu, jak regułka wybrzmi. Sam zdecyduj.
Ja wiem. A pamiętam, że jest taka biedna. No teraz ostatnie te dni jej nie służyły bardzo. na morzu nie było lepiej niż...
O. Ona nie lubi stać, ona chce jechać dalej.